I heard my mother's voice go hollow through the phone. Not from my phone, from Theo's. He'd called her on speaker while I rested on the couch, too exhausted from yesterday's chemo to move. He wanted to update her on my white blood cell count, the way he updated her after every session. "So the numbers are stable," he was saying. "The oncologist thinks we can stay on schedule for the next round if she keeps responding well. That's great news." My mother's voice was tight, performative. "I'm glad it went smoothly." "It didn't go smoothly, Denise." She went alone. Silence. "I'm sorry?" "Bridget went to chemo alone yesterday. She took an Uber because no one was available to drive her." More silence. I watched Theo's jaw tighten. He knew, of course. I'd told him the night before, crying in the bathroom where I thought he couldn't hear. He'd held me for an hour without saying anything, then made me soup I couldn't eat, and tucked me into bed like I was something precious. "I didn't know she needed a ride," my mother finally said. "She didn't ask me. She asked you on Tuesday. You said you and Megan had a spa day. That was... I thought she could reschedule." "Reschedule chemotherapy?" Theo's voice could have frozen water. "You thought she could reschedule cancer treatment so you could get a facial?" "Theo, you're being dramatic, just like Bridget. She's always been..." "Don't." The word came out sharp enough to cut. "Don't you dare call her dramatic. Your daughter is fighting for her life, and you chose a spa day. There's nothing dramatic about expecting your mother to show up for you during cancer treatment." He hung up without saying goodbye. I pretended to be asleep when he came back to check on me. Pretended I hadn't heard any of it. Some truths are easier to digest when you're not looking directly at them. The diagnosis came 8 months ago. Stage 2 breast cancer. Caught during a routine mammogram I'd almost skipped because I was too young to worry about that stuff. The doctor's face when she delivered the news is burned into my memory. That careful neutrality, the measured tone, the way she said treatable before she said cancer, like the order of words could soften the blow. Theo was with me, held my hand so tight I thought he'd break it, asked every question I was too stunned to form, drove me home in silence, and then fell apart in the garage where he thought I couldn't see. My mother's reaction was different. "Well, that's unfortunate timing," she'd said when I called to tell her. "Megan just booked her destination wedding for March. You'll need to schedule your treatment around it." I'd thought I misheard her. Waited for the correction, the apology, the moment when she'd realize what she'd said and take it back. It never came. "Mom, I have cancer." "I know, honey. And we'll deal with it. But Megan's been planning this wedding for years. And I won't have you making it about yourself. You know how she gets when she's not the center of attention." I knew. God, did I know. Megan was 3 years younger and had been the center of my mother's universe since the day she was born. The pretty one. The social one, the one who knew how to charm and manipulate and always get what she wanted. I was the other one, the afterthought, the responsible daughter who got good grades and stayed out of trouble and never asked for anything because I'd learned early that asking led to disappointment. Cancer was apparently not enough to change the dynamic. The first few chemo sessions, my mother actually showed up. Not out of love, I realized later, out of optics. She posted photos on Facebook, supporting my brave girl through her battle, and collected sympathy from her friends like it was currency. She'd sit in the waiting room scrolling through her phone while I was hooked up to the IV, then take me home and disappear to whatever was more important, which was everything. Everything was more important. Megan's wedding planning, Megan's dress fittings, Megan's drama with the caterer, the florist, the venue coordinator. My mother was there for all of it. Consumed by the details of a party that was still 6 months away while I lost my hair in clumps and vomited until my ribs ached. "She needs me," my mother would say when I asked for help. "You have Theo." I did have Theo. Thank God for Theo. He rearranged his entire work schedule around my treatment, drove me to every appointment, sat with me through every session, learned which foods I could tolerate, and which ones sent me running for the bathroom. He researched my medications, tracked my side effects, communicated with my doctors when I was too brain fogged to form sentences. He was everything my mother should have been. But there's something about wanting your mom, something primal, childish, impossible to rationalize away. Even at 32, even with a husband who loved me desperately, I wanted my mother to hold my hand and tell me it would be okay. She never did. The spa day was 3 weeks ago. Session 12 of 16. I was 2/3 through treatment, exhausted in ways I couldn't explain to people who'd never felt their body turn against itself. The anti-nausea meds barely worked anymore. My bones ached constantly. I'd lost 15 pounds I couldn't afford to lose. Theo had a work emergency. A pipe burst at one of his construction sites, flooding 3 floors of a building his company was renovating. He'd tried to send one of his guys, tried to find any way to be with me, but the insurance adjuster was demanding his presence personally. "Call your mom," he'd said, kissing my forehead. "Just this once. I'll be there the second I can get away." So I called. "Mom, I need a ride to chemo tomorrow. Theo has a work emergency and—" "Tomorrow? No, honey, that won't work. Megan and I have our spa day." I sat there holding the phone, certain I'd misheard. "Mom, it's chemo. I can't reschedule it. Can't Theo figure something out? He's always rearranging things. I'm sure this isn't really that important. His building flooded. He has to meet with insurance adjusters. And even if he didn't, why can't you cancel the spa day? It's just a spa day." "It's not just a spa day, Bridget. Megan's been stressed about the wedding, and I promised her months ago. I can't back out now. She needs this. I need this. I need my mother to take me to cancer treatment. Stop being so dramatic. You're always doing this, making everything about you. You have cancer, fine. I understand that's hard, but the world doesn't stop because you're sick. Other people have needs too." The words hit me like a slap. I couldn't breathe, couldn't respond, couldn't do anything except sit there holding the phone while my mother explained why her other daughter's spa day was more important than my chemotherapy. "I'll call you later," I finally managed. "That's fine. Let me know how it goes. Let me know how it goes." Like I was updating her on a dentist appointment. Like chemo was a minor inconvenience instead of the thing keeping me alive. I took an Uber the next morning. The driver was a retired teacher named Pauline, who spent the whole ride telling me about her grandchildren. She didn't know why I was going to the cancer center, didn't ask about the scarf covering my bald head, just chattered pleasantly about science fairs and soccer games until we pulled up to the entrance. "You have a good day now," she said as I climbed out. I almost cried. More kindness from a stranger than from my own mother. The infusion room was busy that day. Chairs lined up in rows, patients hooked to IVs, the soft beeping of monitors creating a strange kind of music. I'd done this enough times to know the routine. Check in, get weighed, wait for blood work, get accessed, sit for 4 hours while poison dripped into my veins. Jackie was my nurse. She'd been with me since session 1, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s, who somehow made the whole process feel manageable. "Where's that handsome husband of yours?" she asked as she prepared my port. "Work emergency, flooded building. And your mom?" I didn't answer. Couldn't answer. The shame was too thick in my throat. Jackie looked at me for a long moment. Then she squeezed my hand. "I'll check on you extra today," she said. "You shouldn't have to do this alone." 4 hours later, I Ubered home. Theo was waiting when I got there, pale with guilt, apologizing before I even made it through the door. The insurance situation had taken all day. He'd called 7 times, texted a dozen more, tried to reach my mother and my sister and anyone else who might be able to sit with me. "No one came?" he asked. "No one came." He held me while I cried, didn't say anything about my mother, didn't curse or rage or make promises about confrontation, just held me and let me grieve the parent I'd never really had. I didn't post about it, didn't call anyone to complain, didn't tell my father, who'd been divorced from my mother for 15 years and lived in a careful state of non-involvement with her drama. But I did tell one person, Nana. Let's take a quick break from the story. Behind every story on this channel, there are hours of work and a whole lot of love. To help us keep doing what we do, we've put together something special, a collection of brand new stories created with this community in mind. If you'd like to support the channel and take some of that magic with you, scan the QR code on your screen. Your support keeps this channel alive. All right, back to the story. My grandmother, my father's mother, was 83 years old and sharper than most people half her age. She'd never liked my mother, made no secret of it, but she'd kept her opinions mostly to herself out of respect for family peace. We talked every week. She'd call on Sundays, ask about my treatment, send cards with handwritten notes and $20 bills tucked inside like I was still 12 years old. She was the one who'd taught me to make pie crust, who'd told me I was beautiful when my mother forgot to, who'd shown up to every school play and graduation that my mother had been too busy to attend. "How was chemo, sweetheart?" she asked in our Sunday call. "Hard. I went alone." "Alone? Where was Theo?" I told her. All of it. The flooded building, the phone call to my mother, the spa day, Uber, the 4 hours sitting in that chair by myself while other patients had family members holding their hands. Nana was quiet for a long time. "Your mother said that to you? While you're in treatment?" She said I was being dramatic. Another long silence. When Nana spoke again, her voice had changed. Gone was the gentle grandmother tone. This was something harder, something I'd never heard before. "I see. Thank you for telling me, Bridget. I'll let you rest now. Nana, I love you, sweetheart. More than you know. Everything is going to be different now." She hung up before I could ask what that meant. The next day, Nana called my mother. I know this because Theo called my mother too, and she answered his call right after finishing with Nana. Her voice was shaky, defensive, nothing like the confident dismissiveness I was used to. That's when Theo put her on speaker. That's when I heard her hollow denials, her pathetic excuses, her dawning realization that her mother-in-law, her ex-mother-in-law, knew exactly what she'd done. "Eleanor is overreacting," my mother said. "She doesn't understand the full situation." "What's the full situation, Denise? Because from where I'm sitting, you abandoned your daughter during cancer treatment to get a massage." "It wasn't like that. Bridget is always exaggerating. She's been doing it since she was a child, making herself the victim. She has cancer. She's literally fighting for her life. How is that exaggerating?" My mother started crying. Actually crying, like she was the victim, like this whole situation was being done to her rather than by her. "You don't understand how hard this has been for me. Watching my daughter go through this, trying to balance everyone's needs. You went to a spa, while your daughter got chemo alone. There's no spin that makes that okay." Theo hung up on her again. I lay there on the couch, too tired to process, too empty to feel much of anything. The nausea was building. It always did around hour 20 after treatment, and I knew I'd be spending the evening in the bathroom rather than dealing with family drama. But something had shifted. I could feel it. Whatever Nana said to my mother, it was only the beginning. The emails started arriving 3 days later. Not to me, to my mother. CC'd to my father, to Megan, to various aunts and uncles and cousins I hadn't seen in years. Nana had written a family letter. My father forwarded it to me with a single line, "Mom's on the warpath." Can't say I blame her. I read it with shaking hands. "Dear family, I am writing to inform you of a situation that I can no longer stay silent about. Last week, my granddaughter Bridget went to chemotherapy alone because her mother, Denise, refused to drive her. The reason? Denise had a spa day planned with her other daughter, Megan. I want to be clear about what this means. Bridget is fighting cancer. Stage 2, breast cancer, 8 months of treatment, 16 rounds of chemotherapy. She is fighting for her life, and her mother chose a spa day over being there for her. This is not an isolated incident. Throughout Bridget's treatment, Denise has prioritized everything and everyone over her sick daughter. Wedding planning, social events, Megan's every whim. Bridget has had to rely on her husband, Theo, for every appointment, every bad day, every moment when she needed support. I have watched this favoritism for 32 years. I have watched Denise treat Bridget as an afterthought while lavishing attention on Megan. I have stayed quiet because I believed it was not my place to interfere. I will no longer stay quiet. I am 83 years old. I have lived long enough to know that silence in the face of cruelty is itself a form of cruelty. I will not stand by while my granddaughter suffers alone. Denise, if you are reading this, I am ashamed to have ever been your mother-in-law. I am ashamed that my son married you and that you are the mother of my grandchildren. What you have done is unforgivable. To the rest of the family, I ask that you reach out to Bridget. Let her know she is not alone. Show her that she has people who care about her, even if her mother does not. Eleanor Callahan. I read it twice. Then I called Nana. Did you really send this to everyone? Everyone I had an email for. The ones I didn't. I'm calling personally. Nana, don't you dare apologize for this. Don't you dare feel guilty. Your mother made her choices. Now she gets to live with the consequences. What about Megan's wedding? Nana laughed. It was not a kind sound. What about it? Your sister can get married without my presence or my blessing. I've already informed her that I won't be attending any event that celebrates a family that treats you this way. She's going to be devastated. She should have thought of that before she took her spa day while you took an Uber to chemotherapy. I didn't know what to say. Part of me was horrified at the drama this would cause, the family rift that was already forming. Part of me, a bigger part than I wanted to admit, felt something I hadn't felt in months. Seen, protected, valued. I love you, Nana. I love you too, sweetheart. Now rest. Let me handle the rest of this. You just focus on getting better. The fallout was spectacular. My mother called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer. She left voicemails alternating between tearful apologies and furious accusations. How could I tell Eleanor? Didn't I know this would destroy the family? Why was I always making everything about myself? The irony of that last one was not lost on me. Megan called too. Her voicemails were worse. Thanks a lot, Bridget. Nana's not coming to my wedding now. Dad's saying he might not come either. Everyone's talking about this stupid chemo thing like you're some kind of martyr. You always do this. You always find a way to ruin everything for me. The stupid chemo thing. My cancer treatment was a stupid chemo thing that was ruining her wedding. I saved that voicemail, played it for Theo that night, watched his face cycle through disbelief, anger, and something that looked like relief. You understand now, he said, why I've never trusted your family. I always understood. I just didn't want to believe it. And now? Now I believe it. The wedding was 2 months away. In those 2 months, my mother made 3 grand gestures of reconciliation, each more performative than the last. First, she showed up at my house unannounced with flowers and tears, begging me to call Nana and fix things. I let her stand on the porch in the rain for 10 minutes before Theo sent her away. Second, she sent a letter, an actual handwritten letter, explaining how stressed she'd been, how Megan's wedding had consumed her, how she'd lost sight of priorities. The letter never actually apologized. It explained, it justified, it reframed, but it never said, I'm sorry for abandoning you during cancer treatment. Third, she posted on Facebook a long public statement about family struggles and learning moments and doing better. She tagged me in it. Dozens of her friends commented with supportive messages, telling her what a good mother she was, how families go through hard times, how Bridget would surely forgive her eventually. I blocked her on every platform. Megan's wedding happened without me. Also without my father, without Nana, without several aunts and uncles who'd received Eleanor's letter and made their own choices about where their loyalties lay. My mother was reportedly devastated. The family photos had obvious gaps. The speeches were awkward, riddled with absences. Megan's perfect day was marked by the people who weren't there. I heard about it secondhand, through cousins who sent me updates. I didn't ask for them, but they came anyway. A steady stream of validation that I hadn't imagined my mother's cruelty, that other people saw it too. That same weekend, I had my 16th chemo session, the last one. Theo drove me, of course, but this time, we weren't alone. Nana was there, 83 years old, 4-hour drive from her house in Vermont, sitting in the waiting room with a crossword puzzle and a thermos of soup she'd made that morning. You didn't have to come, I said. Of course I did. Someone has to be here when they ring that bell. The bell. Every cancer center has one. A bell patients ring when they finish treatment. A small ritual. A moment of triumph. A way to mark the end of something terrible. I'd thought about it for months. Imagined ringing it with Theo beside me, maybe some nurses clapping, a quiet moment of private victory. Instead, I had an audience. Word had spread through the infusion room that it was my last day. Other patients, some I'd seen for months, gathered to watch. Jackie was there, of course. wiping her eyes and pretending she wasn't crying. And my father. He'd driven down from Maine that morning, walked into the cancer center looking lost and overwhelmed, found me in my chair with the IV dripping and said, "I should have been here sooner." "You're here now," I said. "I'm sorry about your mother. I'm sorry I didn't protect you from her better. When we were married, I thought I could balance things. Keep the peace. Make sure you didn't get lost in the shuffle. I see now that I failed. Dad, no, let me say this. You deserved better. You deserved a mother who showed up, who prioritized you, who saw how special you are. You didn't get that, and I'm sorry." It was the most honest conversation I'd ever had with my father. 15 years of polite distance, of careful non-involvement, dissolved in the fluorescent light of an oncology ward. "Thank you," I said, "for coming today, for saying that. I'll be at every appointment from now on. Whatever you need, however long this takes, I'm here." When the final drop of chemo entered my bloodstream, Jackie unhooked me from the IV and smiled. "Ready to ring that bell?" I stood on shaky legs. Theo held one arm. My father held the other. Nana watched from her chair, tears streaming down her face. Crossword puzzle forgotten. The bell was small, brass, mounted on the wall near the exit. A sign above it read, "Ring this bell, 3 times well, to celebrate the end of treatment hell." I reached up, grabbed the rope, and rang. 3 times. Clear and loud and triumphant. The room erupted. Patients clapped. Nurses cheered. My father sobbed openly, not even trying to hide it. Theo kissed me so hard I almost fell over. And somewhere, 200 miles away, my mother and sister were at a wedding, surrounded by people who didn't know or didn't care about the daughter they'd abandoned. But I had people who cared. Real people. True people. People who showed up when it mattered. That was enough. More than enough. Recovery was slow. The chemo stopped, but the effects lingered. Fatigue that made walking to the kitchen feel like climbing a mountain. Brain fog that turned simple tasks into puzzles. Hair growing back in strange patches. A different texture than before. But I was alive. Cancer-free as of my last scan. The prognosis was good. The oncologist optimistic. The future suddenly stretching out ahead of me like a gift I'd almost lost. Theo suggested we take a trip. Somewhere warm. Somewhere beautiful. Somewhere I could heal without the shadow of treatment hanging over me. We went to Greece. His family was there. His mother, his grandmother, cousins and aunts who'd been hearing about my treatment for months and wanted to meet the woman Theo couldn't stop talking about. They welcomed me like I'd always been part of them, fed me until I couldn't move, cried when they saw how thin I'd gotten. "You are family now," his grandmother said in broken English. "Family takes care of family. Always. Family takes care of family." Such a simple concept. So foreign to my experience. I cried for an hour that night. Grief and gratitude tangled together in ways I couldn't separate. My mother reached out once more, 6 months after the wedding. A birthday card with a handwritten note. "I hope we can move past everything and be a family again." No acknowledgement of what she'd done. Just a vague hope that we could move past the fact that she'd chosen a spa day over her daughter's cancer treatment. I threw the card away. Megan sent a message a year later. She was pregnant. Wanted to repair the family before the baby came. I didn't respond. I'm 3 years cancer-free now. The scans keep coming back clear. My hair grew back curly. I gained back the weight I lost. Nana passed away last spring. 86 years old. Peaceful in her sleep. I was there at the end, holding her hand, telling her thank you until the words stopped meaning anything. She left me her house in Vermont, the house where she taught me to make pie crust, the house where I was always welcome, always valued, always enough. My mother wasn't at the funeral. She wasn't invited. I don't owe her forgiveness. I don't owe her access to my life, my recovery, my future children. I don't owe her anything except the exact amount of consideration she showed me when I needed her most, which was none. The bell is still there, at the cancer center. I go back sometimes for checkups, and I always pause to look at it. I think about the woman I was when I rang it, broken, betrayed, held together by Theo's love and Nana's fury. I think about the woman I am now, stronger, clearer, surrounded by people who show up. I hope the spa day was worth it. I hope she thinks about it every time she sees a daughter with her mother at the doctor's office. But honestly, I don't think about her much anymore. I'm too busy living the life I almost didn't get to have, and that's the only revenge that matters. I hope that story stayed with you. We put a lot of love into everything we create for this channel, and your support is what makes it all possible. If you'd like to help us keep going and discover something special we've been working on, scan the QR code on your screen or check the pinned comment. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you. See you in the next one.